All right, so Electron updated the Digitakt, and now we have slicing on the Digitakt. So what I'm going to show you is how to resample a pattern, a beat that you already have made, and then create another pattern out of the slices, which is essentially resampling. So first thing we want to do is go ahead and sample the beat. I have a beat here in pattern 1. Sounds like this. Okay, so go over to direct. As you can see, I have something there already I was messing with, so I'm just going to get rid of that. First thing you want to do is set your source to main L plus R. So you go through with the G encoder here, set it to main L plus R. You want to set your threshold just below wherever the signal is, so go ahead and play it, and then just set the threshold anywhere underneath the signal here. Then go ahead and hit yes. So now it's armed and ready to record. So once it's armed, you're going to play. But one pro tip I want to give out here right now is you want to stop the recording on the beat. Because we're sampling a pattern from the Digitakt, if you stop the recording with yes right on the beat, then you won't have to go and do any weird trimming or anything afterwards. And that way every single slice, most notably the final one, will be, the same length essentially. Okay, so it's armed. I'm gonna go ahead and play the pattern. I'm gonna record it for 4 bars. 3, 4, 1. Okay, so you can see I stopped it right on the 1 of the 5th bar. So now you'll have essentially, a perfect length of 4 bars at this tempo, of course, which is, 100. So, okay. So next thing you want to do is go ahead and save it. Okay, I'm going to save it as beat 1. Okay, hit yes, save. I'm not going to assign it to a track right now because I'm on pattern 1, which is the beat that I just played, and pretty much every track is taken up. So I want to preserve the pattern the way it was, and I'm going to do all this slicing on another pattern so I don't mess with the original one. So go ahead and change to pattern 2. Get out of direct here, and then you want to go ahead. So I'm going to choose to assign it to track 5 where the cowbell is. Personally, I like to preserve the conventions that are written here. Like I like my kick and snare on 1 and 2, hi-hats on 6 and 7. And so if I want to swap anything else out, I like to put my samples on something that I'm potentially not going to use, like a tom. I don't always use toms. I don't always use cowbells or cymbals, So I'm going to go ahead and just replace the cowbell right now. So you go to source, you want to change the sample here, go to a blank one, hit yes, go down to recorded, and then you have beat 1 that we recorded there. That assigned it to slot 10. Okay, so now we have the sample assigned to slot 5, to track 5. You'll notice that it faded out because of our amplitude envelope there. If you wanted to play the whole thing, just go ahead and set the decay to infinite. So that way it'll actually play the whole sample if that's something that you wanted. So now we want to slice it. So go back to source, hit function and assign, go down to slice. Okay, now we're in the slice machine, which is part of the new update. And then if you press source one more time, you'll see that you have the waveform there of the whole sample. And it's already sliced it up for us into fourths, but in this case, we want to slice it into 30 seconds. So there's 8. And you'll notice that the slice points are right on the transients there because it's in time. And then ultimately our final slice will be the same size same length as all of the other ones because of the fact that we stopped it on the beat. So, okay, I want 32 slices. And then what you can do from here is you could just play these using the chromatic keyboard. Let's see, where's our snare? Okay, but one thing I want to show you guys, so you could potentially live record something like this, you know. You could potentially live record that into a pattern, but an interesting way to do this is you want to lay some trigs, just some random trigs, and then what you can do, I'm going to shorten this to 16, and then from there you press yes, and you want to, I tend to go with create random locks. The difference between them is random is obviously random. It's going to take different slices from here and assign it to each of these trigs. Linear locks will assign them in order. So this will be slice 1, slice 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So sometimes that can be good, sometimes not. Obviously random is, you know, 50-50. Sometimes it's going to be great. Sometimes it will be unpalatable. So I'm going to go ahead and try it. Let's try the linear locks just to see what it does. So you know what? That's not terrible, honestly. One thing you could do is, I noticed that trig 5 here is a snare. So you could copy that over to trig 13, which is normally, you know, I say normally with quotes because, you know, generally you have your snares on 5 and 13 for that kind of beat that you're, you know, if you're trying to make that kind of beat. But, you know, I use the term loosely because obviously you can put snares wherever you want. But let's hear what that sounds like. Okay, that's not too bad, you know. When you move the snares, you know, more in a, you know, in a place they're supposed to be, like on the 2 and the 4, you know, that's essentially what this is called, is like a 2-4 beat. You know, if you move the snares in the 2 and the 4, and I mean 2 like 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, then you get more of a palatable beat that way. So another thing we can do is do random locks. So let's try that out. Okay, you know, not the greatest. So what we can do is, of course, move some of the trigs around. Okay, sometimes, you know, it kind of sounds weird right now because sometimes the slices kind of overlap. It's not so much that they overlap into the other one, but that, you know, there might be some notes in between the slices that you don't really intend. So what you have to do sometimes is you can either set the length or you can just change the slices themselves. So when you change it to 64, it makes it so when you're dealing with beats, it makes it so each slice is more of a one shot rather than having, you know, maybe a couple different shots in it, a couple different beats. So you know, so that's actually kind of cool, you know, especially for being a random one. Let's try random again. You know, there you go. That one, we got lucky this time because last time when I tried this before filming it, you know, it's definitely not definitely did not come out as good as it could have. So, but so that's basically it. You know, I wanted to show you guys how you can resample and utilize the slicing. Keep in mind, this stuff is on the Octatrack. So if you're here and you're maybe trying to decide between a Digitakt or an Octatrack, or you know, if you have both already, you know, keep in mind that you can do all this stuff on the Octatrack as well. You know, there's been a lot of talk going around with whether or not the Octatrack is worth it anymore because of how they keep adding these things to the Digitakt. Personally, I think it's great. I have both. I still end up using my Digitakt a bunch simply because of the form factor, you know, the fact that it is a bit simpler, so that way you can, you know, it's easier to achieve certain things. The things that it does do, it does really well. But, you know, keep in mind and never forget that the Octatrack is, you know, a beast for a reason. And, you know, essentially you do kind of get what you pay for. There are tons of things that the Octatrack has that the Digitakt does not. And, you know, if you don't think so, you know, you might need to check out your Octatrack a little bit more, or check out some of my other videos with some of the tutorials I have for the Octatrack, because ultimately the Octatrack does have a lot, and it still has its place in the world nowadays. So hope that's it. Well, not hoping that's it. That is it, whether you like it or not. No, just kidding. But leave a comment down below if you have any questions. Leave a comment if you have any suggestions on future videos to do. If there's something you want to see from the Octatrack, or from the Digitakt, or from this new update. I'll probably do another couple videos on the update, maybe some of the other machines. But for now, that'll be it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.